I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe somewhere in the darkest night, a fire glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to lead the way. I believe, I believe. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe above the storm, the smallest prayer can still be heard. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf and see the sky, then I know why. I believe. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a fire glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to lead the way. Yes, I believe. I believe. I believe above the storm, the smallest prayer can still be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Thank you. Miss Tammy Hall.
Good morning, heart and soul. Good morning, y'all. Thanks for being here. Y'all at home, thank you. You should be thanking me because you just got to experience Nicholas Beard and Tammy Hall. Oh, singing one of my absolute favorite songs. It's a song that I learned in camp, summer camp, as a bluebird. I was part of the Campfire Girl organization. And that was one of the songs, and y'all have no idea the times that it got me through. If you really paid attention to the lyrics, that someone is walking us through why it is that they believe and how the very center, the depth, the roots of their belief. Does it make sense if I say it that way? The very root of the belief, how it supports them in life. This notion of hearing a baby cry or touching a leaf or just seeing the sky, which we all can do, can support us in embracing an empowering belief system. Oh, I love that song. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Nicholas. Oh, this is, oh my goodness. This is one of those moments where a reprise just went, but let me just get to the, look, about a month ago, some of us went to Monterey in celebration of our beloved Tammy Hall. So, what happened is that the Arts Council for Monterey County was celebrating our beloved Tammy Hall as a champion of the arts. So we celebrated her here in absentia, but she's here today. So Tammy, I know you're back there. You could at least peek out the door so we can see you. I don't know if we can capture her peeking out the door. Or come on up, baby. Come on up here. Thank you, darling. Because we have in our presence and a part of our congregation the beloved treasure, musical treasure, brilliant mind, huge heart, Tammy Lynn Hall. Thank you. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. We were so honored, a few of us who were able to make that trek. And it was a trek of love because it was a breakfast. I left that part out. So it meant, I want to share all of that with you because for those of us who went from Oakland, it was truly a testament of love. And very appropriate. We love Tammy, and I'm so grateful that she and Nicholas this morning did that beautiful work. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you. Thank you. As a part of that, I'm still on. It is done unto you as you believe. Y'all probably know I don't know. It doesn't matter whether you anticipated it or not, because here we are. It's so key. It's at the center of all that we are and all that we endeavor to be. Here's my sense, is that who you are and how you be right now that's cool. That is perfect in its own way. And you're going to have to change. If you draw a breath tomorrow, you will have to change because life is forever an upward spiral. So no matter how good it gets, and I'm one of those who as a youngster, when my life really felt good, and sometimes it was as simple as if it was my turn to clean the kitchen, get the dishes done, because that was like a real thing in our household. I didn't want anybody to drink water after I had cleaned the kitchen. Because I could stand back and have that sense of, yes, I have done it. And like that means nobody gets to use it. If you clean the bathroom, I'm like, it's over. No bathroom using until further notice. Because there's something about wanting to bask in the all goodness of it. But have you lived a life like mine where it doesn't allow for a whole lot of basking in it? All that goodness, you better check that off and record it somewhere. Because life continues, and the goal is for you to stay just as engaged. Just like you brought that with the cleaning of the kitchen and the cleaning of the bathroom, you're going to have to bring it to the next day as well. Every time. Does that make sense to y'all? Because sometimes I know our feeling tone of it is, what, again? And in the most spiritual way, I have to say to you, get over it. And get busy being your highest and best. How to do that? Understand with every fiber of your being that it is done unto you, unto all of us. What? As we believe. Now I know sometimes, here's the way this thing works. Some of y'all show up like all the time, so you already know. But then there's, as we acknowledged, and Damali, thank you for that, for just acknowledging that there's always, and some of you at home are tuning in for the very first time. And I don't want to scare you, but you buckle up, babe. Welcome. I acknowledge you and thank you for tuning in and being with us. Part of what is happening today is, would you understand if I call it a tag back? From last week and the week before, and even the week before that, there's always something in today's message that's really been simmering for a few weeks. That's how it feels for me. I kind of left it on simmer. Last night I cooked some black-eyed peas using the crock pot. And so what I noticed is this crock pot, my last one burned out or broke down or whatever they do, so you have to get a new one, that there is a warm setting on it. My last one only had a low, a medium, and a high. And this one has a warm. And so I kind of feel like we have kept these talks and the core of the message on warm in the crock pot. You better ask somebody. That we have left it so the juices are more flavorful. Meaning maybe more meaningful. Maybe in this way, maybe we find more applications of it in our own life. Because that's the thing. I'm not encouraging that we are simply parroting that it is done unto us as we believe. Because that gets us nothing. No points for memorization. The key would be, how are we applying it? How are we applying it? What does knowing that, what does hearing that, what does writing it down, what does copying and pasting it somewhere, what does that do for you? How does that inform your living? And if it doesn't, find you something that does. Does that make sense? Because I use it as an affirmation, and it makes sense to me. So this is why I do this for me too, as I believe, because that's not the way I learned it. It's the same words, but it's kind of a different meaning and emphasis. The way that I learned it was simply, it is done unto you as you believe. And I thought, oh, okay. And I lived as if that wasn't true. And now that I understand it, I get why Ernest Holmes puts emphasis on as I believe. To me, that makes sense. If it doesn't to you, I apologize, but I'm going to keep doing this. Because it makes sense to me, this notion, this emphasis on as I believe, as I am yet believing. Yes? And this is so core to all that we're talking about, because what if, just for drill, What if you truly knew and lived as if you're on an adventure in faith? That whatever that is that happened, that mail that you're afraid to open, what if you knew that inside that is an invitation, an aspect of your adventure in faith? I mean, just for drill, what if? What if that phone call, caller ID exposed on your phone, you're like, what if you knew, without a doubt, that answering that call was an adventure in faith? And you were able to hold it that way. That may be helpful. You may not be ready today, but the good news is you can see this later on YouTube and on Facebook. See, whenever you're ready for it, the message will be there to greet you. Yes? So we're in the get ready to some extent. We are preparing ourselves for the life that we're already living. And the life that, the life that we're living right now, this being, let's say that this place right here, this is the continuum of life. This is of my life. Yours is different. But this is just the line of my life. And so right here just represents the present moment. Just for drill, play with me on this. This is the present moment. My present moment is in some way being set up to inform my next moment. And I haven't lived that moment yet. Now it doesn't, the degree to which is up to me. So let's say this present moment is everything. Oh, I have to hold myself. What if it's everything I ever dreamed of? I mean, I almost need somebody like to catch me because I could just like fall out in the bliss of this moment and all that it contains for me. If that's where we are in this moment, we still have another moment. Now, it's up to us how much of this moment we take into the next moment. Entirely up to us. There's no programming that says, because I got all this good right here, that the next moment automatically is informed by that. You must make the impress in your consciousness of what you take with you. Okay, now, that's a possibility, isn't it? Now, it's also a possibility that the camera catches me in this now moment cursing something awful. I mean, not me for real, but in this example, I'm willing to stretch for the lesson. So let's just say that the camera catches me mad, furious. I'm experiencing like all the messengers of fear. I'm angry. I'm uncertain. There's some shame. There's some guilt. See, y'all at home, you need to come in here because you have no idea how I'm being coached right now. The idea here is that all of those emotions can be present right now in this example. So I am really in the tornado of all of these emotions, none of which, of those that are the primary emotions and feelings that are present for me, none of them are supporting me in embracing my highest and best. In fact, it feels like I am in the tornado of the downward spiral. Now, the same thing is true. I can bring that to the next moment. I can bring that for the next week, the next month, the next 3 years. Watch me. You understand what I'm saying? That each and every one of us is at choice in how much of that we experience right now. And it's okay. This is not about denial in any way, shape, or form. It's about realization. It's about recognition. It's about awareness. Conscious awareness of, oh my goodness, I am no longer on the good foot. It's the awareness of where I am, and then the choice of do I intend to, do I desire to stay here? In mind and in feeling, in mind and heart. Yes, because I'm always building. I'm always laying the bricks, so to speak. Yes, y'all at home, does that make sense? Laying the bricks for my life. It's a mental universe, so a huge part of it is what am I thinking? What are my thoughts about this experience? However whatever the experience is, there's some impetus. There's something, somebody said something, or I thought they did. Hang on to that idea, because we are often busy in our thoughts. And we are so convincing of our thinking that we can make ourselves believe that something happened that didn't even happen. That something was said, that a look means something that don't nobody else know it means. Yes. Oh, we're complex and interesting beings in that way. So look, we've talked about this notion that Simone Biles introduced us to, the twisties. And last week, I did my best to impress upon you that every mess in your life is not the twisties. You must have a level of proficiency first. You have to have exhibited that you can do the thing. If I grabbed the mic and went to singing right now and it didn't sound like singing to you, it would not be the twisties. It would be that I wasn't doing the thing. And there would be evidence that I had not done the thing. But if Nick got up, or Liberta, and something was happening, we would all, that could well be the twisties. You understand the distinction I'm trying to make? And so when I speak to the twisties, with respect to our life and our living, it has to do with establishing that we know that we know that we know first. So that when we're in situations and circumstances that challenge our being, like that ordinarily you would have forgiven whatever that experience was, whatever that exchange was. But in this particular instance, you realize, ooh, I'm out of sorts, because I would have forgiven that. I'm a forgiving person. I'm out of sorts because I'm not, what I'm doing now and the way that I'm responding is the antithesis. And so in every case, when one is out of order, in gymnastics, it's the twisties. In other sports, they call it something else. Because wherever there is a proficiency and one falls out of that vibration, you have something to call it. But it also is, the solution to it in every case is back to basics. How did you first learn that? How did you first come to the awareness? How did you begin believing that? How did you first embrace it? How is it an idea that is real for you? That did not happen by magic. It largely is related to the focus of your attention. Intention is something else. It simply means that you were attentive to this idea, to this notion of forgiveness in this example, or sharing, or whatever it is, that if you could contact that, if you could be in that space, in that consciousness, move from that awareness, the situation would be different. And put you in the vibration that is much more favorable and much more aligned with your vision for yourself. Now, that presupposes that you have a vision for yourself. That you're not just willing to live life and just see how life unfolds for you. That you truly are entertaining ideas for your life. also known as an intention. Setting an intention of how I intend to be, how I will live life. Last week, I shared with you from the Science of Mind textbook, and I erred because what I told you then was that it was from the 1926 edition. This isn't even in that edition. What I should have said is the 1938. And if you have a textbook, it's much more likely that you have the 1938. And I shared some of this. I went back because somebody actually posed quasi-question. They started the question and then they kind of answered it for themselves. And so I thought, let me start this excerpt. Let me excerpt more of it. What I shared with you last week didn't start here. So I'm backing up to give you the rest of or more of what Ernest Holmes says in the Science of Mind textbook. He says, in our ignorance of the truth. Now, I want to just say that this ignorance is not all pervasive. Often it's a choice in the moment. Come on, don't act like you don't know what I mean. It's where you know, but you ain't going to know right now. I know better, but I'm not going to act like I know better. I know better, but I'm going to do what I know doesn't work because I'm just doing this. Now, you can act like you don't go there, and that's all right. I'll own it for all of us. But I know my people. So look, he says, our ignorance of the truth, feigned or otherwise, we have misused the highest power we possess. So in this is one of in the beginning of the 1938 edition of the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes is spelling out, like what it is, what it does, and how it does it. So we're looking at the way it works. How does this thing work? So there is a thing that works. How does it work? And so he says, this great power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. He says, and this is the part I shared last week, we are bound because we were first free. That what he's establishing here is the only way you can be bound is if it's within freedom. Because if there's no freedom, there is no bound. So this is being bound really says if we are willing to go deep enough, or someone would say high enough, Rev, if we're willing to move in that and really get everything it's offering us, is that it's saying that we often find this in what we call opposites, that you cannot have one without the other. So this notion of being bound would simply be our condition if there was no freedom. The fact that there is freedom, and freedom is clearly much more expansive, inclusive than being bound, this is telling us in its own way that the only way we can be bound is by choice, by right of consciousness. Now, I'm going to caution you to try to apply this at this stage to a universal or international or middle passage example. I need to just be clear about this. For the mind that, come on y'all, for the mind that's trying to jump there, you're missing your own business. Because that's not the teaching right now. When you get this down, then we can talk about what is the global impact. How do we talk about the middle passage in light of this? But we can't talk about that till you get this at the personal level. I hope that's clear. At the personal level, how are you operating in this? How are you holding on to a binding, a sense of being bound while we live free? Now, first of all, because it's the space, the energetic of freedom is mental, it's emotional. So it has nothing at the level, we're talking at the very beginning, we're back to basics, come on now. We got to work it, we're taking baby steps here in our back to basics. So this notion is one that says that the freedom we're talking about it includes no one else. There's no one to give it, there's no one to take it. This is an internal experience. This is where each and every one of us is looking within to see the degree to which we are owning our freedom. And if someone else's face or name or image comes up for us, we know we're not doing that work. It's like in meditation where stuff comes up, what do? You just go back to the practice. We understand stuff is going to come up. So your relationship with freedom may look like it's tied to your relationship with someone. I've come today to say that's an illusion. It's an illusion. Any impact, any direct connection, dot-to-dot correlation that you have applied between your freedom and that person, your freedom and that job, your freedom and where you live, your freedom and who's in the White House, your freedom and anything. Is that clear? All right. So we getting this. We're just trying, all we're doing is moving through what Ernest Holmes wrote here. Okay, so look. He says we are bound because we were first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. So that eliminates whatever image you might have brought up in terms of the boss, the landlord, the partner, Yes? Okay. This is why, he says, the master teacher summed up his whole philosophy in this simple statement. It is done unto you as you believe. Yes. Yes. Also, it goes on in another little section. I think there's something in between. It goes on to say, the thing works for us by working through us and is us when? Always. And I would add, in all ways. So always as a way to scope it for time, and in application, in all ways as well. He says it cannot work for us in any other way. This is how life gets to be the way it is. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts at us from every angle, but it can become power to us when? Only when we recognize it as power. So we must act first. And this recognize is really recognize. It's that makes it clear to us, at least in my mind when I say it that way, that I already know this. That there is a resident, an infinite knowing within me that recognizes. You know, some folks say game recognizes game. This is a version of that. Life recognizes life, but it has to look through a certain lens. Because what does that saying say? Game recognizes game is a way of saying that everybody can't see this. I see exactly what this is. So all of us are being called to see exactly what this is, the way that our life is unfolding. Sometimes we look at another's life and we have misread what is happening. We have misread their adventure and faith, and we come out envious. And sometimes we carry on just enough till we create some of that in our lives. But it's very different from the inside out than it is kind of observing somebody down the street. or on television, in the movie. Yes. Okay, you can go on quiet on me now. I don't know if that's because I hadn't gone too deep or you just cut me off entirely. We cannot recognize that it is while we are believing that it's not. Let's just be right here for a bit. What you call a thing matters. When I think about how many of us for so long have declared about an experience that this is going to ruin my life. This is going to ruin everything. Could be that you're focused on your credit. Could be that you're thinking about your employability. Whatever it is, the power of your word. What did we start out saying? That so much of what we do, and I'm going to add say, is out of ignorance. Because we don't understand the power or how these things come together. Now, this is not, there's nothing that I'm saying that should be construed with that there's some magic words that if you say them, that they like change your whole life. But there's some words that if you don't say them, your life will not change in the ways that you want them to change. Now, those two things are different. But the latter one calls you into action. It calls you into owning your power and recognizing that every time you declare your failure. And sometimes not only we declare the failure, which is okay, it's when we add the permanence to it. When we get a prognosis. And sometimes we have just done our own prognosis. When I say prognosis, it does not have to be by a medical professional. We do our own prognosis. Because that didn't work out, now I'll never be able to buy the house. Really? What you know about never? Really? You just look at all out in the future around corners. Like you probably don't know whether that's a never situation. Is that making sense? So I'm not doubting that things have happened that have had some negative to awful consequences. But this won't be the first time that you've demonstrated your resilience. You know, as I look at the room, I'm pretty much looking at my peers with few exceptions. And I say that by way of identifying that we have some living under our belts. We didn't just roll in here off the conveyor belt. We have some living under our belts, some experiences that leaves us with the awareness that we thought could take us out. Not only did it not take me out, but it empowered me to stand powerfully. But for that, I would not have known that I had the wherewithal. But for that, I would not have known that I had the strength. Because before that, I thought that could have taken me out. You know how you look at somebody else's life and you might say, oh my goodness, if that happened to me, I'd just die. Oh, if that had happened in my family, it would just be. Would you understand if I said sookie, sookie? Life is unfolding. And you get to decide whether that thing that you once declared would take you out, whether that instead is getting ready to give you the boost that you needed. Whether instead that was the missing piece in the equation. Like, now I got all the parts. Look at me. Before that happened, that thing I didn't want to have happen, before that happened, I couldn't figure out how to put this together. Oh, but now that this nasty piece is in it, I see exactly what it is. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach, because now I know. Now I know that not only am I resilient, that this won't take me out, it has empowered me. It taught me something I didn't know I didn't know. It taught me that I could work with this. It taught me that that ain't nothing. That? Huh. Gave me my swagger. Ain't she the one who? Yeah. I'm the one. See what it did for me? Yes. This is why we declare every Sunday. Thank you for. I have no complaint whatsoever. Now, we don't declare that because we're stupid and we don't know that there is a thing called complaint. And it's not because we don't know how to complain. It's that we know that the consequence is too high. We've waited. We're in the situation, and we're like, now, I could complain about this. In fact, in my journal, I could just read from my journal to complain about this. I don't even have to create new complaint. I got complaints in email about this. But I know what it cost me. It would be me wasting the power of my word. And the truth is, I've done that enough. So this is not a mountaintop teaching. This is not like, and I don't know what y'all are doing with all those complaints. I don't know how y'all use your words against you. I could teach the course on how to devolve a life from the inside out. But it's not what I'm doing, because the lesson I learned is the power of my word and the importance of using it intentionally and judiciously. Yes? Yes, so this idea that we cannot recognize that it is while we're believing that it isn't. In that song, I believe for everyone, how does it go? About the prayer part that who lose their way, that's what it is. For everyone who lose their way, anyone who loses their way, someone will come to show the way. Now see, all y'all don't believe that. Some of y'all believe that if you lose your way, you just lost. But for the one who, y'all not really, look, when you believe, and some of us do believe that when we're lost, we go, it's over, I'm lost. Ain't nobody coming. If that sounds like you, I need to give you an assignment. It's a Google research. You are busy researching situations where folks got lost and somebody came. That's it. All I need, you just need a file, electronic or otherwise, of because your current belief system is, and what do we know about what we believe? It is done unto us. So as we believe in it, ain't nobody coming? Or at least you slowing them down. Whoever was on their way is now stopping for coffee. Because they have to. Because your thought is repelling the outcome that is already baked in. I don't know if y'all even understand what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that for the one who believes that if they're lost, they just lost forever, I need you to do the research about the folks who give testimony that when they were lost, folks came. The testimony, there was somebody who was just found last week, because this is Sunday, first day of the week, so it was last week. Somebody was just found, and what they said was, as I recall, something like, this may have been the people who rescued him, that he had like 1 day left. Just of being able to survive under whatever the circumstances were. See, you want to become the expert. When you get, see, this is pre-work. Back to basics is pre-work, baby, yes. You're setting yourself up. Should I get lost? Now, see, a lot of you in here look like you are in the, no. Y'all do not look lost to me. Not a one of you. I am concerned that should you get lost, though, you might get a little too attached to the experience. But you look mature enough to recognize that this, well, maybe you wouldn't necessarily know that till you get to this point, that there really is a magic birthday point in the U.S. for the medical profession. There's like a magic point that has nothing to do with you as an individual right away, that just automatically, the idea is that your bones are thinner, if you fall, you just, so there are a number of things that come as a part of that package. So there is, for some who have been exposed to that, we are now practicing getting up without any assist. Because we're built, I mean, y'all may not understand this, but there's some people who do understand it. I'm talking to them. So look, it's this, and I catch myself doing it because I start training myself to get up without using my hands. Now, I may need to use my hands at times, but largely, I want to practice. See, it's back to basics. I've been getting up since I started getting up, whatever age the getting up is. But do you understand what I'm saying? So you now bring it in to deconstruct it to see how it needs to work for you. Yes. And so you have a plan. Should I fall? Here's what happens, because it's quite likely. Who in here has never fallen? Okay. All of us have fallen at some point. So the idea is we've set an intention to get up. Metaphorically, this is the intention to get up in spirit. To get up. And to know, what does the lyric say? For everyone who goes astray, someone will, oh, see, I hadn't made them lost. For everyone who goes astray, lost from their intended path, that's what astray means. Who goes astray, someone will come to show the way. I believe. You know, here's the thing. I have more to say, it's just that I have talked way too long already. So look. Ooh, no, no. I'll be back next week. I'll be back next week. So we just gonna have to, ooh, Lord. Part of what I'm hoping I've left you with, the impress that I've intended to leave, is one of clarity. One of clearing out the fog, clearing out any sense of confusion about how life gets to be the way it is, clarity about your role in your life. Some of us have abdicated it to others. In clarity, though, we claim it back. We take responsibility, we stand in it. And some would say that on a clear day, you can see forever. Thank you.
On a clear day, rise, look around you, and you will see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You feel a part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near words you never heard before. On a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and more. On that clear day, rise and look around you, and you will see who you are. On that clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You feel a part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near words you never heard before. On that clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and evermore. Tammy Hall. Give it to y'all, give it to her. On that clear day, rise and look around you, and you will see, I like it, come on, who you are. On that clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You will feel a part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near words you never heard before. On that clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and evermore. Forever and ever and evermore. Thank you.